to the VDC space. Today we're going to be modeling box culverts in Revit. So we're going to generate two types of culverts, the pipe one and also the box. So before I get started, I would like to ask you guys to please like, subscribe and share, because I upload BIM modeling tutorials 3 times every week, as you can check on my playlist. Now without further ado, let's jump into our project. So I open up a construction template as always. So obviously for our culverts, you're gonna go to file and say new, and then you're gonna say family, and the template we're gonna use is the metric structural framing, beams and braces. You're gonna say open, remove this extrusion that comes with the family template and the reference line and these 4 reference planes. So we're gonna work with only 2 reference planes for this project, and they're gonna play a vital role in terms of how we constrain the length of our box culverts. So we're just gonna extend them. So just gonna extend them like this, and the middle one, I think it's fine. So the first thing is you're gonna go to the left elevation, and then we're gonna draw a profile. So you're gonna say create extrusion, set the reference to reference plane left and say OK, and then you're gonna click your circle. From this insertion point, you're gonna make a circle of 600mm diameter, so the radius is gonna be 300. Pick lines, and then you're gonna say offset of 50 millimeters. So you're gonna say 50 millimeters, and then we're gonna select these 2 circles, and then you're just gonna drag them up, and then you're gonna place them like this on top of this insertion point. Now you're gonna select them and say copy. So from this point, you're gonna copy them by, let's say, 800, and then you're gonna take it further to the right by 800, and then you're gonna select the 2 of these and say mirror pick axis, and then mirror them towards the other side. So after that, you're gonna go to reference level and say finish edit mode. You're gonna drag them towards this point. So from this point, you're gonna lock them, and then you're gonna drag it towards this reference plane, and then lock them. Now you're gonna control the length of these pipes. So if I go to the 3D view, this is basically how it looks. So I'm gonna select them, apply the material. So I'm gonna make them precast concrete, and this is actually how they look. Now we're gonna model our head wall and our wing walls. So in order for us to do that, we're gonna go to the left elevation. So let's just extend these lines. So we're gonna go to the left elevation. So on the left elevation, we're gonna say create and say extrusion, and say we're gonna set it to the left and say OK. And now we're gonna draw our head wall. So we're just gonna place a random rectangle like this. So from this point, I think we can offset it by 150, and then this side also we're gonna offset it by 150 mils, and then from this point we can offset it by 200, and we're gonna obviously poke the hole. So you're gonna say pick lines, and then poke the holes like this to make provisions for our pipes, and then you're gonna say finish edit mode. Go to the reference level, and then you're gonna lock this head wall against the reference plane, and then you're gonna lock it against these pipes, so that when you control the length, it will move along with those pipes. So I'm gonna select this head wall, mirror pick axis, and then mirror it towards the other side. Do the same thing, constrain it, and then I'm gonna constrain it against these pipes. Now if I change this to 15,000 millimeters and press enter, the pipes are gonna move. So actually there's something wrong with this one, so let's just set this, let's just say undo. So I'm gonna select this, let's just remove this head wall. So I'm gonna copy it towards unconstrained, I'm gonna copy it towards the other side, and then I'm gonna say move, and then I'm gonna move it towards this point. So I'm gonna say AL AL for align, and then lock it against this reference plane, and then I'm gonna lock it against these the concrete pipes. Perfect. Now if I change this to 15,000 millimeters, let's just go to the 3D view. So this is unconstrained, so I'm gonna have to go back to the reference level, and let's just set it to 300 millimeters. And let's change this to 10,000 millimeters. Oh, I think I get it now. It's because I've mirrored it. So if I go to the right elevation and say create, and then extrusion, set my reference to right and say okay, I'm gonna replicate the same thing this side. Pick lines, and say finish edit mode, go to the reference level, and then I'm just gonna lock this against the reference plane, and then this I'm gonna make it 300 millimeters, and then I'm gonna lock this head wall extrusion against these concrete pipes. So let's change this to 15,000 millimeters, and now it's gonna move perfectly. So if I go to the 3D view, let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna change this to 10,000 millimeters, and then I'm gonna say okay, and now it's gonna move like that. So I'm gonna join these. So I'm gonna press the pipe first and say join the pipes first, and then join. Now the material has changed. Now the only thing left is to do is to model the apron and also our wing walls. So in order for us to do that, you're gonna go to reference level and say create and say extrusion, and then from this point you're gonna draw a wing wall at 135 degrees or 45 degrees. So we're gonna make it 200 millimeters, and then we're gonna place it like that. So select it, and then you're gonna mirror it towards the other side. So if you open up the 3D view and say finish edit mode, and then drag it upwards, lock it, this is basically how it looks. But obviously we have to modify it so that we have the slope on the side to show that it's a right wing wall. But before we do that, I'm just gonna join the head wall and the wing walls so that we may change its material. So I'm gonna do the same thing this side. I'm gonna say create extrusion, and then at 45 degrees I'm gonna make it 3000. So it's gonna be 200 millimeters in thickness, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side, and then I'm gonna go back to the 3D view, finish edit mode, and then I'm gonna drag this to the top, lock it, and then I'm gonna join this, select the body of the culvert first, and then the wing walls. Now the next thing is you're gonna go to the front elevation. So on the front elevation, we're gonna draw our void extrusion so that we can cut our wing walls. So you're gonna say void extrusion, set the reference to front or back, and say okay. From the middle point, you're gonna take it towards the top. So you're gonna take it like this, and then you're gonna go to the top, and then you're gonna place it like that, and also you're gonna join it this side. So you're gonna say trim and extend. So after you say trim and extend, you're gonna obviously lock the reference plane against the model line, and then you're gonna say lock it, and then you're gonna say finish edit mode, so that when you modify the length of your culvert, the void extrusion moves along with the entire structure. So you're gonna drag it towards this side, and then you're gonna drag it towards this side, and then it's gonna cut your wing walls. So you're gonna do the same thing. So let's go to the front elevation. You're gonna do the same thing this side. Say create void form and say void extrusion, set the reference to front and back. From this point you're gonna take it towards this point, and then like this, go to the top, and then you're just gonna join it like that. Align, and then you're gonna align against this reference plane and say lock and say finish edit mode 3D. And now you're gonna drag this extrusion towards this side and also this side, and now it's gonna cut your wing walls. Now before we apply our apron, we can just say load into project just to test it out, and then we're gonna place it like that. Go to the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. This is perfect. Now I'm gonna set this to realistic, and the one thing I like about modeling culverts in the structural framing template or the beam family template is the 2 points, which is the start and the end level offset. It's very much useful when it comes to making adjustments of the culverts as far as the slope of the culvert. So for instance, if you want to check the culvert in relation to the earthworks or the fill that is going on, it's easy for you to actually modify the slope of the culvert so that you can check how it relates to the fill or the earthworks that is situated above it. So this is very much useful, and actually you can control it using Dynamo. Some of you guys have seen my script, so I'll leave the link in the description just to see that video of how I can control it using Dynamo. So if I go to the, let's just go back to the floor plan. Okay, level 0, I'm gonna say VR for view range. I'm gonna set it to unlimited, apply, and then okay. So go to structure beam. Remember, it behaves like a beam, so I'm gonna place it like that. So if I open up this view and then select it, think of this, I'm just gonna draw I'm just gonna type in DL for detail line. Think of it, so if you think of this as a fill, just drag this thing up like this. So if you think of this as a fill, it's easy for you to adjust your culvert. So obviously you're gonna have to type in some numbers before you can adjust it manually, and you can actually adjust it manually like this. So it's very much useful and much more convenient when you use structural framing template. So let's just open up the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So let's just finish this. So you're gonna go to edit family, and for our apron it's gonna be very much simple. You're gonna go to create and say extrusion. You're gonna place it from this point and towards this point, and then you're gonna start from this point, and then you're gonna place it like that. So obviously some trimming and extending, and you're gonna lock this line against the reference plane, and then lock this line against your pipe, so that your apron can move along with your entire body of your culvert. So you're gonna say finish edit mode, open up the 3D view, and obviously you're gonna have to adjust its height. So I'm gonna place it on the bottom of our head wall and our wing walls, and the thickness of our apron, we're gonna make it 300 mils, and this is basically what we have. So let's just test it whether it moves along. So we're gonna set this to 15,000 millimeters, apply. Now it moves along, perfect, you are in the right track. So you're gonna go to the reference level, and we're gonna replicate the same thing the side. So from this point you're gonna take it towards that point, from this point you're gonna take it towards that point, from this point towards this point, and then you're gonna trim and extend everything. Trim and extend, and then you're gonna obviously draw this line right there, and you're gonna say AL for align. You're gonna align this line against the reference plane, and then you're gonna say finish edit mode. go to the 3D view. Now we're gonna have to adjust this. Obviously, let's just adjust it, place it on the bottom, lock it, and then I'm gonna set the thickness of our apron to 300 millimeters. Now if I say properties and then 10,000 millimeters, apply, now it's gonna move like that. Perfect. Now you're gonna say load into project, and then let's just save this. So I'm gonna save this under VDC and pipe culvert, and then I'm gonna say the VDC space pipe culvert, and then I'm gonna say save. Now as you can see, we have saved it, so I'm gonna go to level 0 structure beam, and then I'm gonna place it like that, and this is basically how it looks. This is perfect. So this is our pipe culvert. If you want to like break this down into a much more detailed element, you can actually create the pipes separately and then create a shared parameter, and then you can bring it onto you can nest it and then create a nested family, so that you can separate every element. So you can separate the elements of the wing walls, the head walls, the apron, and also the pipes. But in this instance, for this demonstration, we're just gonna keep it as simple as you can. Now obviously the box culvert, it's gonna follow the same logic. So for the box culvert, let's just open up this project and say edit family. I'm gonna set this to realistic. I'm gonna remove the pipes, and then I'm just gonna leave these as they are. So let's just modify our head walls first. So I'm gonna go to the left elevation, select one head wall and say edit extrusion. I'm gonna remove the pipes, delete them, and then select my line. From this point, I'm gonna take it upwards by 700 millimeters. Actually, let's make it 600, and then I'm gonna apply a chamfer at 60 mils, and then take it to the right by 800, 60 mil chamfer, and then I'm gonna take it down like this. I'm gonna select it, and then I'm gonna copy it towards the middle reference plane, and then I'm gonna select this one, mirror pickaxis, and then I'm gonna mirror it towards the other side. SL for slice, so I'm gonna slice this thing like this. I'm gonna slice it where they intersect so that I can remove these lines. So I'm gonna say finish edit mode, and then go to the 3D view. Go to the 3D view, and this is basically how it looks. So this is basically how it looks. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for this side. I'm gonna go to the right elevation, edit extrusion. I'm gonna remove these circles, and then I'm just gonna say pick lines because we have a reference from the other head wall. And I'm just gonna say pick lines, pick lines, pick lines, SL for slice. I'm gonna slice it where they intersect. Then I'm gonna remove these lines, and then I'm gonna say finish edit mode. I'm gonna say resolve, go to the 3D view. This is basically how it looks. So we're not gonna stop there. So we're gonna have a base from this point to this point. So in order for us to do that, it's gonna be very much simple. Go to the reference level, extrusion, and then place a rectangle from this point towards this point, and then you're gonna lock these lines against the reference planes so that they can move along when you adjust the length. And then open up the 3D view. You're gonna drag this downwards, lock it, drag it towards also this point, and then lock it. So this is how it looks. Now you can just join this so that you can change its material. And and I'm gonna join it also this side. Now the only thing left for us is to create another extrusion that moves actually for this one we can actually delete this. Okay, there's no need. We're gonna create another extrusion from this point. I'm gonna go to the left elevation and say create extrusion, set it to left and say okay, and then I'm gonna hover over one line of this head wall and press tab until everything is highlighted like this, and then press and say finish edit mode, go to reference level, drag it towards this point, lock it, drag it towards this point, and then lock it. Next thing, lock it against the head walls, lock it against the head walls, go to the 3D view, and this is how it looks. So I'm just gonna change its material to precast concrete, and this is our box culvert. Now I'm gonna load it into our project, override existing version, and this is basically how it looks. Now luckily we saved our pipe culvert, so we managed to replace this one with the box culvert, but it looks pretty well. Obviously you can adjust the apron so that it conforms to the face of your wing wall, but I think this is fine for this demonstration. So here we are. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly did, and I will catch you on the next tutorial. Peace.